Hello, everyone.
Hello, Chad.
Can you hear me in here? Or would you rather
Yep.
type?
Loud and clear.
So the big thing that you saw in the beta that we've been working on is interactivity, which is a big priority for us because, we need an easier way to develop objects. The things that you saw in beta were, of course, examples of interactive objects. I think one of them that you probably are excited to see is the mannequin, which I'm guessing that would be a pretty nice shopping tool. Okay. Yeah, so those are, those were some examples. Sorry, I got kicked out. Those are some of the examples of, some interactive objects. So those types of things right now are kind of difficult to build. That require engineering and coding. So this is making those objects more available and more accessible to people building content. So the mannequin, yeah, that was actually one of the things that people were interested when we were talking about better shopping tools. They were talking about the mannequins in the traditional sense and also objects that you could use to show off just basic models. One thing that is also coming in the next release is something Skippy added, is the about tags will now show developer items. So you'll be able to click on, say, a buggy and find out which buggies are in auction. So that includes the developer, I believe the developers first, and then anybody that's reselling that buggy. And also there was a tool for showing off what you're wearing for clothing. So you can click on, you can, first you ask the person if you can, see their clothing, and, they'll basically click on a tag that will say, allow the person to view your clothing. And then when you view it, you basically get a web page that lists all the clothing that they're wearing and any relevant auctions to those items.
The about tag's already there.
So those are some of the things that are coming up in the next release. The better shopping tools and
I'm on now, John.
interactivity. Is that working out now?
Yeah, I got it. I'm back on.
Okay. Aside from that, also the muscle car and the coupe have not been forgotten. The basic car should be out hopefully this week, and then the templates for them should follow right after that, hopefully next week. No, they won't have inside. So the same thing that were in beta. I mean, that would be basically redoing the cars. It would be kind of expensive. So they were as you saw in beta, but there were some notes about some mapping things. Overall, I think people like the same rules will apply as the custom car. So there'll be a base car or the SUVs. There'll be a base car that's in shop, and then you'll have the paint jobs and the wheels. And you will not be able to try the wheels, just like you won't be able to try the wheels for the SUV. Sorry about that. I have passed along the notes. Basically, I had on the notes that you wanted to be able to try the parts. Some people felt that not being able to try the parts was, kind of discouraging as far as purchasing them. So I did pass that along, and yes, that it limits sales. And also, people want to be able to auction parts separately from the cars. So I mentioned that as well. I'm sorry, be able to do things like returns and things like that. There was a list of issues as far as needing to attach parts and things like that, rentals and everything. So all that's been passed along. So with that said, I will open up questions. If you can, I am Helper Yoko. She'll field the questions, and she'll type them here. About which longer than the ones we have now.
Yes.
You can't get much further than what we have now, if you just because the way the avatars move, and you can't make the dress separate from the legs. So if you do it down to the feet, you run, it'll just really stretch badly. The skirts that we have that go down to the knees are about as long as they can get before it really looks bad.
Okay, because what I was thinking is on that question, Chaz, is like for evening gowns and wedding dresses, since there's the hover pack that has the flared out skirt and everything, is it possible to have like a full length for like proms and things like that?
Well, with the prop, which is on the list after the custom cars, with the props, you would be able to do something like what you're doing with the hover pack without flying around. Now, they're not going to bend or move or anything like that, so if you sit down, the skirt isn't going to move, but you would be able to do something with those, similar to what you're doing with the hover pack.
Yeah, because that's what I was asking about with like long skirts. Like, you know how we have the proms and weddings and everything, like the girls like the long skirts for like evening wear and things.
Yeah,
instead of the pants.
Right. Yeah, that would work for that. Obviously you won't be able to sit in them, but for the ones that that people have been using hover packs for, that should be a good alternative.
Yeah, and the other question I wanted to ask also is like more custom fitted for the men. Like, you know how it has the custom fitted with the pants and for the girls and everything. Is it possible we can get custom fitted for the men in the pants?
That I do have on the list, and actually some work has been done on it. A custom fitted top and a custom fitted bottom.
Okay, because I was wondering on that, because it would be. Are we getting any more textures than what we already have in the stomach?
What was the question on the textures?
Is there any more going to be textures that are going to be available than what we already have in the stomach?
Well, the styles will be, the two men's styles as far as the fitted tops, the fitted top and the fitted bottom.
Yeah. Okay, thank you, Chaz.
Okay.
Chaz, I've got a question.
Okay.
All right, is there going to be more information on the builder zones? And if so, where?
What specifically are you asking?
How the heck do you use them? I'm new to this, so as a result, still trying to figure all that stuff out. All I get it to do is lock up my system.
We were trying to talk to them about that earlier, Chaz. We'll try working with them offline.
Okay. Yeah, there are some classes that are held at the UOT as far as developing. They have some excellent instructors that pretty much go over everything to do with the developer program. I'd really recommend, if you want to get into designing, to check out some of those, and you can usually meet other people that are developers and share tips and tricks and things like that.
Yes, and I teach the Style Maker and all that. Sorry for interrupting, Chaz.
Okay, what did you say it was? UTO?
University of there.
Okay, I'll take note of that. Like I say, I'm stumbling through this. I'm new getting started. Trying to find all information I can.
Yeah, they're very helpful, and I really recommend. I've spoken at some of the classes that they have, and the teachers are really serious about what they're doing and very helpful. And also, there's a developer forum as well. If you go to the main forums, there's a thread about if you're new, and there's a lot of websites in there that have tips and tricks. So you might want to check that out as well.
All right, appreciate it. Thank you very much.
No problem. Next.
I only got one question. Oh, I was wondering. I was wondering if you could add a trade option on the tags for as items and say buggies. If you're holding a yard sale and somebody says, "Oh yeah, I'll buy that from you" or whatever, you can just go to the item and click trade instead of having to locate it and search in your inventory.
We've talked about adding about tags in some form to items in a PAS, similar to what we have on vehicles and things like that. We just have to think about how we do that so we don't end up a sea of action tags. Some sort of toggle. It would have to be per item toggle, where you can toggle on the about tag. Now, of course, the about tag, Skippy has changed it, so the about tag goes to developer items and other people auctioning the item. So that makes it a little bit helpful. And then, of course, the other shopping tools that are coming. Anything else? That was brought up in the beta as far as toggling it on. I guess it was felt that part of viewing the clothing. At first we were just going to have it turned on for everybody, but Skippy talked to a few people and found that clothing, unlike other things, is thought to be a very personal thing, and it's also kind of a social thing as far as that first step of saying, can I view what you're wearing? So part of the design with having the you ask the person and they basically turn it on is a kind of a social interaction. With that said, the time has, I believe, been bumped from a minute to 5 minutes. Anything? Next question. Baggy tops for women. I'll add that to the list. Is there any particular style you're woolen shirts or something? Okay, I made a note of that. Next question. So that the custom sounds has been brought up before, and I don't think we could necessarily have just submitting custom sounds, just because it would be very difficult to see if they're not, what the copyright as far as that goes. But what has been thought about is having a library of sounds, and basically when you submit your item, being able to pick from, I wanna choose, use this particular sound. The introduction of the props is going to require adding some selections to. How can you copyright car sounds? You can copyright anything. You can certainly have a instance of a car sounds and copyright it. I mean, if you're recording the car sound, it's no more different than recording particular musics or a particular sound on a keyboard. Yeah, you can copyright those, and there's some sound packs that you can basically use for personal use, but you can't use for copyright use, or I mean commercial use. So that would be very difficult to tell which is which. But with the introduction of the props, one thing that's going to be that needs to be added to Previewer is the ability to make selections of basically like parameters. So as you're going through the wizard, you're going to need to say this particular thing attaches to this part. And that ability to select parameters could be used for vehicles and things like that. So that's kind of being thought about.
Okay, so that's when we're going to get it, when the props come?
Well, that the props is going to add a feature to Previewer that will allow us to use those for things like vehicles, like being able to choose exhaust or being able to choose other styles of seating and things like that.
And the sound libraries, you said.
And the sound library. So they, being able to say shut off a sound or pick a different sound for your vehicle. So
hey, Chaz, add quickly to that too. Then, if we could be able to change the hoverboat exhaust color, we know that's in there.
Right, the exhaust color, or just shutting off the exhaust, being able to turn on and off, or be able to select different seating animations, those types of things. The props are on the list after the vehicles, and the vehicles are, I was working on finishing them up today, and I hope to get the chassis models out this week, with the developer templates following that. The props are on the list along with the seating groups as far as what's next, and of course the interactivity has been a big thing that's been eating up a lot of my time, so all of that's being juggled. The SUVs, yeah, I did bring that up as far as separating out the the parts, just getting rid of that prep for sale and allowing you to sell the parts and the chassis separately. I haven't necessarily gotten anybody to agree with it, but I did bring it up.
In terms of trials, the problem is a lot of people want to try before they buy, and I haven't sold an SUV paint job for a good couple of months now, and it's all because mainly people can't try it out.
I would also post this in the forums and get the map to talk about this, because I'm bringing it as far as something I think needs to change with it. But sometimes it sounds like it's just me pushing for it and not necessarily a widespread community thing. So I'd recommend also posting this in the forums and getting the map to talk about it. I believe if we separated out the parts from because basically the problem is to sell the parts, you need to attach them to a vehicle, and then you can sell the whole thing. So you can't do try it on the paint items. You can't do try it on the wheels or the bumpers. Or so basically, and the other problem is when you're selling a vehicle, if you try that vehicle out, you don't see what custom parts are attached to it. You just get if you do a try it, you just get a base SUV, or you'll see the same thing with the muscle car and the coupe. So I'll bring that up again. I mean, I think that's an important change. But if you can help me out by also bringing it to the map and posting that in the forums, I think that would really help.
Anything's worth trying, but I'm sat here thinking, is it worth doing another paint job for even the the new coupe and the muscle car?
Yeah, I that's why I think it'd be helpful if you posted that in the forums. That basically, it's the Scion cars are just the regular paint style. Those seem to be very popular. The SUV paint jobs have not been as popular as the Scions. Now that is probably the style of the car too. The SUV was the first one and wasn't meant to be the most the best of them. The other two cars look a little nicer. But as far as the part system goes, and that limitation, and how you guys feel about it, as far as if you're saying you don't want to submit additional items because of this limitation, if you could post that would really be helpful. It'll get seen.
I'm just saying anything's worth trying, but this really needs to be looked into as a priority, because I mean, not only is they're losing money, we're losing customers left, right and centre, because would you really buy a car off a website without actually viewing it first?
Right. I personally agree. I just haven't gotten anybody else to agree yet, so this I need to be seen by more people.
Okay, we'll try the forums.
Thank you. I'll also push it as well, but it's good to see it directly from you guys, so it it doesn't appear that it's just coming from me. Next question.
I think a couple of them have flown by while you were talking. wait, you forgot my master list of hairstyle colors.
Yeah, the one thing that we did get out of the part system is the ability to configure the buggies with a script. The old buggies were kind of they were a really old vehicle, and they didn't have a script associated with it, and they were kind of hard to configure. That's why we just had those few standard buggies. So on the list is also a builder style buggy where you'd be able to you'd have a builder template for it. What was the next question? A lot of stuff just flown by.
I just was making a request for a master list of the hair and skin color codes.
I think the skin colors are on the developer site. No?
Yeah, there are skin colors. I picked up some for hair colors, but there was some for the men's facial hair I really needed because I was trying to tweak a color to match a hair, and it just didn't seem the codes were coming in.
Oh, okay. The eyebrow colors. Okay.
Yeah, so I was just wondering, if it would be possible, either through us or everybody, to compile a master list of all the skin and hair color codes for the males and females.
Okay, I think we have that somewhere. I can add that to the wish list. There's some things that you could do with the props as far as that goes. The props you can attach to the head. I'll pass that along. I don't think there's anything that's changed with the developer zones in this release, but I will ask Pixel if she has any updates on what. I know she wanted to get back. She's been busy on a project, and she wanted to get back to finishing some things out. I'll ask her what's up with that. Yeah, the once it makes it through QA, we'll be changing the. We'll start with the buggies. We'll be changing the buggies so all of them will be lockable, and they'll be lockable only in your particular zone. So that will be there and developer vehicles, including ones that are already in world. That is currently in QA. We're starting with the vehicles, and once the buggies and SUVs and things like that, and then the other styles of vehicles, bikes, hoverboats, will follow that. Nothing has happened with the other exporters. There's some work that was started with those, but nothing has happened as far as status goes. Any other questions? I mentioned mentioned the builder vehicles. That is on the list, and some of the things that we did with the part system, help allow us to do builder vehicles or builder cars. So that's on the master list of things we want to do. What was the question from Disky?
Oh, I was typing a question in and it disappeared.
Go ahead, throw it out, Disky.
Oh, okay. It would be really handy. Where am I supposed to talk? In the box or out of the box?
In the box.
It would be really handy if, say, the old textures we have could be incorporated like the Style Maker is, where you can like have the regular T-shirt, but mix it with the other sleeves that come with the Style Maker, so that we can have full-form gloves, but have the basic body, the regular T-shirt, which has better proportions for doing designs on.
Yeah, it's a little hard to do because basically what the Style Maker shirts are actually cut up into like 5 pieces, and that's how you actually mix and match like the gloves and the top of the shirt. So we'd actually have to go through all the other shirt styles and chop up the hands and chop up the sections of the shirt. That would be a bit of work.
Well, independent gloves would help a lot.
Yeah, the gloves, the hands are actually all part of the top.
There was somebody else I was going to ask, but I've forgotten what it was now.
The Fedora hats, actually, yes, there has been work done on that to also include, I think we're probably going to have another clothing release for some of these things. There was work done on the Fedora hats. So that is on the list of things we'll be releasing. Is there any other questions? One thing I want to go over that I didn't mention earlier, I don't know if you got to make it into the beta. I have a feeling we're going to have one more beta, but if you didn't see it, we have made some progress on the My Submission page. So that adding additional information and basically being to purchase items directly off the submission page, without having to go through 3 other pages. Some of the features that were posted earlier in the developer forum were in the last beta, so you can be looking forward to that. Yeah, we want to get some new female hair out. I think that would be a good thing to do. We actually have a few styles that were started that just didn't have time to release yet. There was the Lily Allen style was one of them that we have that we just haven't gotten a chance to release.
So have you figured out how to make it so that they share the color thingy, which gives them a bigger texture?
What was that?
Well, the hair, most of the regular hair, like the one I'm wearing right now, share a basic color square. So that if I were to change this color texture in my folder, it would affect everybody wearing this color, no matter what the style of the hair is.
Right. Yeah. I mean, most of them do that, and then there are a few styles. I think one of them that was released in Cosmo Girl that has an additional 3 other styles. Yeah.
Some of the newer styles don't do that because they're actually an independent thing on it. And I've noticed that most of the newer styles really don't have a really big texture. So if you want to, if you actually got that hairstyle, you really couldn't do like highlights or anything on it because it's too small.
Right. I wanted to save some time for helper Yoko to also talk a little bit about product submissions. So before we get too far along, why don't I turn it over to her so that way she can field some questions.
Yosh, I gotta talk to you when we get a moment too.
Hey, since she's typed in Chaz, can we take your bumper cars up in Yoshi's tree?
Were there questions for helper Yoko as far as product submissions go?
Well, I just was posing a question on here as kind of a follow-up there on to the Coca-Cola submission request.
Okay.
They really rushed as far as, hey, quick guys, so give us some designs here and all, and then they seem to take forever to decide about things. And then, like I said, you had us do another submission of actually to send the item in and get approved and all. And I don't think anybody's heard back anything or anything, and I was just wondering, if they're going to do it again and do it right and give people more time to come up with the ideas or to submit. Well, some people I heard didn't even get the request to send in the item for submission, So I don't know if there was like a second cut that some people didn't even make that. Which has, I don't know if that's more of a question for you or if that was more for Raj or somebody else.
I'm not sure if helper Yoko is. I think she might be answering a question right now.
All right, the question was about the Coke submission proposal that went through earlier this year. They seem to really rush as far as, I don't think a lot of people had, I don't know, I didn't feel I had enough time to give out some good ideas to submit. But then it seems, then there was another second round where they actually asked us to submit the item and all. And I was just wondering, if there may be another proposal going through that more people could have time to work up some ideas to submit for them, or they've already gone through, didn't like what they see, and that's it. Right, okay, no, it's as long as something's still getting processed through. But, there were some of the issues, too, in when I submitted the item that, I just had to grab what I could as far as like a Coca-Cola logo to use, and I'm sure they could have provided better quality image. I think that would have helped.
So the working with different partners, we can of course, we have some control over the things that we do. Each partner is a little different as far as how they handle things. MTV is very quick about things. but often they want to do things, last minute. Coke is more, they have a whole process, and they kind of, spend a lot of time thinking things, and they just are more detail oriented about things. Working with different processors, they have different partners. They're all, different businesses, and they all operate a little, they have their own unique way of doing things. So that's kind of, we see the same things. You guys, when you're working with them, will see it. The art houses, they kind of see the same things. They have to get things approved, and they wait for approvals, and then last minute they get a list of changes. It's kind of how it is in corporate America. Sure. Yeah, there's plans to keep on improving the My Submissions page and add more features as far as being able to see your unlisted items, and also being able to tag items, and being able to search for those. Some of that was talked about in the developer forum. There was a post on some of our plans. In addition to that, improving the ability for third-party tools like Explorer, and if anybody else goes to the right one, improving the way that those tools can interact with the site, so that way you can do bulk listing. So we're approaching it that we want the website to do more, so that way it kind of is good for the average person, and then kind of the power user, or somebody that has really special needs, maybe has a lot of items, or just has certain techniques on how they sell things, where a third-party tool makes sense. We want to basically have an API where those tools can work with it better.
What question? Was there a question? I'm not hearing. This is weird.
She's typing it.
Oh, okay. I was freaking out.
Yes, Chaz. How long do you have to basically wait for like a basic T-shirt? That there's no issue or anything like that? I don't think. I don't think there is, but it's still saying it's pending, and it went in on the 30th. Okay, Yoko.
I think Francis asked a question sometime back too, if there's a possibility of larger builder size items like 80 meter.
Yeah, the larger building specs, that is on the list of the wish list of developer projects.
Oh, I remember what the question was. What's the possibility of when you have a fun zone or something like that, being able to put your developer thingy in it so that you could work with the features of the lands to build something you want for your zones?
Probably not, because we don't really support putting a zone inside of a zone. I know people overlap passes, but it really isn't designed to work that way. And especially in the case of the developer zone, where you can you can shut off the the server updates. That would get kind of difficult to do if you have two zones. It's a good idea. There isn't any plans for that right now. Lipsticks are just a color, so there's no plans for that now. But I can mention that as a wish list thing.
Yeah, Yoshi had a question.
What was the question from Yoshi? You mean like specular lighting or actual light source?
Oh, just the amount of self-illumination being used on the object. Right now, light maps are set to be fully illuminated, and I notice you can do self-illumination that takes through, but could that be put on the light map?
Oh, right. Yeah, it's a limit of the way the light map does. Yeah, I know exactly what you're talking about. Basically, if you use a light map, the environmental the environmental light doesn't affect the texture. You can probably get the same results with a detail map. And the detail map will still use the environmental lighting. Thank you, everyone. Be sure to head over to Tropical Adventures and bump everyone.